Hi, I'm Gavin Coyle. I'm the CEO of Coyle Group and SafetyJobs.io. I have over 25 years experience in health and safety, and I've worked with leaders in the power stations, wind energy, construction and utility sectors. I know and I understand the problems that leaders have within these industries, and I've had first-hand experience working with leaders in trying to solve these issues. What we've done is we've produced a series of webinars to try and support and help your management and your team look at different areas and tips in order to improve and to solve some of these issues. We hope you enjoy this webinar today, and we look forward to producing more content for you in the future. So today's webinar is how to keep your workplace safe on a budget. As employers, I'm sure you're well aware of the statistics on an annual basis being very high in terms of people having fatalities or catastrophic events within their workplace. For UK employers, annual costs are in the billions. In 2020 alone, there was over 38 million lost days due to workplace incidents or illnesses. We've put together this slide showing the industries that are most affected by accidents and illnesses within the workplace. And it's not unique to Great Britain, but we could pick any country and we would have a similar issue in terms of sectors. So what are the sectors? Generally speaking, they're construction, they are agriculture, they're forestry related environments. Yes, manufacture is in there too, and in some cases mining, for example, and other related industries. So as an employer within these areas, obviously the impact, the financial impact, along with the obviously personal impact, is at a very high level. And so we put together some statistics here to show you the level of rates of industry incidents and accidents. Employees' responsibility. So workplace health and safety is regulated by criminal law and civil law. As an employee, obviously every employee has a responsibility to report any unsafe acts or conditions within the workplace. In the UK, the local authority that is regulated to deal with health and safety within the workplace is the Health and Safety Executive, and in Ireland it's the Health and Safety Authority. We're going to show you a video now of a small contract cleaning company that has up to 15 employees, how they manage health and safety for their people within their business.
Lamont Cleaning and Support Services are a successful small business based in Lisbon, Northern Ireland. The family-run business provides window cleaning and support services, including ground maintenance, winter services, and managed hygiene services. The company was established in 2006 by Managing Director Michael Lamont, after 17 years working in the cleaning industry. They employ a small workforce of 11 full-time employees, who work in a high-risk environment and have been successful in securing many contracts, particularly within the hospitality, government and leisure industry.
Health and safety is a key issue within our business. We need to make sure our workforce, our members of the public and our clients are safe. Within a typical day, we have various hazards, working at height, manual handling, slips and trips. We're very committed to health and safety, and we know that good health and safety practice is good, sound business sense. If we don't have good, sound procedures, people could get seriously hurt. They're well trained and they're trained to the IOS standard, and we highly value our staff. We trust them to manage their time and their jobs, and this results in great loyalty. We have very low staff turnover, which results in continuity to our clients and efficient working methods. My company is part of the governing body, Federation of Window Cleaners. We believe that everyone should understand the importance of health and safety, so we set up the IOS accredited training school. This is to share our knowledge and experience and to ensure the other companies that we train have the same safe working practices that we have. The operatives are the experts. They deal with the hazards and risks every day, hence why they have a large input into the writing of our risk assessments and method statements. So it's common sense to ask for their input. At our quarterly meetings, we review health and safety and conduct toolbox talks. We also review all legislation.
People look at us and think we're just window cleaners. We use high-rise elevation machines, cradles, maybe 10, 12 floors in the air. So it is a very risky job. I feel safer here in this company now that I know all the legislations and all the risks concerning the job. It used to be when you were younger, you just didn't care, you just went on with the job and done what you had to do. But now that I'm here for 6 years, I know a lot more. I've learned more here in 6 years than what I ever knew before. We've had to do the harness training stuff. We've had to go through proper procedures. That you have to go through elevation courses. Which me and another guy, we're the only two guys in the company have our elevation iPath licenses, so we can ride elevation machines as well. Michael has trained all of us on the IOS. We have went through courses. All the boys do the courses together.
Ross Lamont is the Operations and Health and Safety Manager at Lamont Cleaning. He has an IOSH Directing Safety and NEBOSH qualifications and has lead responsibility for the health and safety in the company. Ross uses the HSE website to access free advice and guidance. He signs up to the e-bulletins to make sure he keeps up to date with any changes to health and safety. Lamont highly value their customers. Each job is signed off by the client as the work is completed, and they make sure there is a follow-up contact on the quality of service. This means that if there are any issues, they can be acted on immediately. Lamont Cleaning and Support Services take their health and safety duties very seriously. They are a member of the SAFE contractor and are also CHAS accredited. They are a safety accredited member of the Federation of Window Cleaners and have been also accredited investors in people.
We believe our business is a success due to our staff. We invest in our staff and we continually work with our staff and we motivate our staff. This enables us to win large contracts and prestigious contracts. We follow HSE guidance. We have obtained a number of accreditations including ISO 9001 and 18001. We believe this has had a direct impact on our winning of our large contracts. With their staff, our accreditations and health and safety practices, this has built a business that we can all be proud of.
We always encourage employers at all levels to access as much information as you can. There is so much information in the public domain that you can access to help improve health and safety within your workplace without having to go to a consultant. We're not saying not to use a consultant or not to use a safety officer within your business. But there's so much access in the UK and in Ireland in terms of reading material, websites that you can tap into, really good trade magazines. And a lot of this information is free to download and free to access. And so, you know, in terms of assessing the risks within your business, in terms of trying to solve a problem within your business, there is a very, very good chance that you can get access to that information on the internet by putting in certain searches. So for example, at a very basic level, if you look at hse.gov.uk, they have a significant amount of information for all the different industries, the different trades, different principles or backgrounds that you can access in terms of standards for health and safety, legislation for health and safety, best practice for health and safety. You know, there's videos as well as there's downloads. And so we encourage you to explore as much as you can before you actually go outside looking for specialist help, to have a look and to actually pinpoint certain websites that are specific to your business and your industry that you can use as a reference point going forward. The next slide is encourage feedback. So in terms of collaborating with your employees, you know, it could be toolbox talk, it could be just a general safety representative meeting, it could be a general meeting on operations, but also on health and safety. It could be a survey, it could be a comment box within the location or within the business that people can write up a comment card, drop it into a box that, you know, where they feel that there's areas to improve on health and safety, or where they've seen something that needs to be brought to people's attention in terms of health and safety. So we're only as good as our employees, we're only as good as the people around us. And if everybody collaborates together with a one-for-all approach to health and safety, well then we're all moving in the right direction. And so feedback and encouragement of feedback from employees is paramount in terms of any health and safety culture or any health and safety system that needs to work at an optimal level. Invest time in your staff training. So we're talking about having safety on a budget. And when people talk about training, yes, training can escalate costs over and above into, you know, what an employer probably expected that they had to pay Yes, there's certain training that is statutory training that you must provide for employees. For example, manual handling, it could be fire, it could be if you're using a forklift, for example. However, there is other training that you can get access to, again, online, and you don't have to pay a fortune for this particular training. So we'd always encourage employers to look around at the likes of e-learning, for example, which can cut down the cost of employees having to travel, employees have to use accommodation or hotels, and that the training can actually be used on a laptop either within the office or in a remote location. So training doesn't have to cost a fortune, but we would suggest that you have a training plan, obviously, and a priority level training plan in terms of what is the important parts of training that needs to be developed for your employees, and then set your budget around that. And obviously in terms of e-learning, there's many providers within the workplace at the moment, and so shop around because there's great deals to be got. Likewise too, there's e-learning on the likes of hse.gov.uk and other websites like that you can use their material free of charge, and then just get your employees to sign a sign-in sheet or a sheet that they said that they acknowledge that they've reviewed that material and they're satisfied that there's nothing to answer in terms of they're aware of the material that was given to them on that day. Have your company join up to a health and safety organisation. This is a great way of linking into what's happening in terms of trends within health and safety. So for example, it could be IOSH, it could be in Ireland, for example, NISO. There's plenty of organisations out there that you can join at a relatively small cost, and they will give you the industry standards, and you will be able to attend events and learn from other people, business owners, through the networking within these organisations. Fantastic way of getting access to information, and obviously networking with like-minded companies to learn and grow in terms of health and safety information for your business. So we'd encourage you to look at some of the organisations that we've listed on this slide, and you know, there's other organisations obviously that we haven't listed, but there is plenty of access to health and safety information by signing up to some of these organisations that have a direct link into your business or relative to your business in terms of health and safety information. Definitely look into this, and it can be done on a budget. Utilising safety software tools. So we'd encourage you to look around at the market. There is a massive saturation within the health and safety industry of online software tools. A lot of this has caught up in terms of cost, and the costs have dropped because of obviously the saturation of businesses that are offering these services. You can get a very, very good software tracking tool, for example, for safety data sheets, or you can get a safety management system software at very, very low costs, that can manage all of your paperwork in one location, so that you're not using Excel spreadsheets and the likes of Dropbox folders, etc. to manage your paperwork. We'd encourage you to spend a bit of time. It's not going to happen over the course of a week or two. Spend about 3 months reviewing the market periodically to make sure that you found the right software tool for you and the right budget for yourself. This will save you a lot of time and effort and administration, having one centralized system with all of your safety paperwork that can be accessed throughout the business. So for example, if your people work remotely and they're traveling to sites, for example, that they can easily access your software systems without having to contact the office and say, look, I need this paperwork, this risk assessment, because this particular client will not let me on the job without a valid risk assessment. Whereas if they had the software, they could access it on their phone, their iPad or their laptop and just turn it around and show the individual and say, here's my risk assessment for this particular project, here's what I've done, and it's all online and it's very transparent. Yes, there is systems that are more elaborate, that are of much more cost, but if you do the research, there is some very, very good tools at a very minimal cost. Hosting toolbox talks. So we talk about training software tools, and we talk about bringing in expert trainers to deliver training and stuff like that. There's nothing to stop you having a meeting with your own employees in the form of a toolbox talk to talk about health and safety, to talk about best practice within your organisation. You as a business owner and your management team know more about your business than any trainer or that any training organisation can provide, in the sense that you know the business risks within your business. And so you should be able to maybe take a risk assessment for a part of your business, get your people in a room and say, look, here is our risk assessment that we did last year. We're going to do a review this year. What works well? What is not working well? What can we do better in terms of this particular method of work? And do we need to change the risk assessment? So it could be just one risk assessment that you're reviewing. Or it could be something that happened within the industry that maybe not all the employees are aware of, and that you want to share that information. So for example, it could be an accident, an incident, it could be a catastrophic event of some form, or it could be new legislation has just come into place which makes everybody's workplace safer and which makes everybody's role a lot easier in terms of how to carry out a piece of work that is relevant to your business. So sharing that information, increasing the knowledge and getting feedback from your employees, whether they feel that that's practical within your business environment, because your business environment may not actually be able to adopt certain things because of their work environment, resources, budget, could be any of those factors. However, sharing and learning and growing as a business can easily be done at a low cost through the form of toolbox talks, and these as a minimum should be held, in our opinion, on a weekly basis. Staff meetings. Incorporate health and safety into your staff meetings. After your introduction with the meeting, have health and safety as your number one agenda item. So what would you say, for example, in that meeting? So does anybody have anything that they would like to bring to the table in terms of health and safety? Has anybody got any concerns? Has anybody seen things that we can improve on health and safety? Is everybody aware that we've increased our number of hours worked, and therefore we believe that we need to increase our awareness of health and safety because we're now working in a more intense period. There's certain sound bites that you can have with your team, with your management team, that you can get some information from them, and you can also motivate, encourage, and then promote open learning and collaboration amongst your management team. You do not have to have an hour-long talk on a staff meeting. It can be 10 minutes, and if it needs to be brought into another forum, you can easily say, look, we'll take that offline, and you can have an individual conversation with a particular manager, and if it becomes something that needs to be broadcasted amongst the company, that can be sent out through a newsletter, through an email, or that can be, you can bring all the employees back into a workshop style meeting to say, look, we need to bring this to your attention. Posting reminders in the workplace. What do we mean by that? So to reinforce the message of health and safety, using signage is a good tool to re-engage with the workforce or reinforce with the workforce the message that had been given, that is a priority message at the moment for health and safety. So for example, if you're working in an environment where cleaning is taking place, that slips, trips and falls is something that it could be relevant within the workplace, that people need to have a higher focus and higher awareness of. So a simple slip, trips and falls signage can be printed off a printer and can be laminated and posted in an appropriate position where there may be a potential for slip, trips and falls. You don't necessarily need to go to a signage company to go out and have a number of these signs professionally made. On a budget, these signs can be readily taken off the internet and posted in the appropriate position. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Just as a summary, there is loads of different things that an employer can do in order to reduce cost or keep safety on a budget. For example, we talked about training, we talked about online tools, we talked about different packages that you can to get and different information and organizations that you can tap into where you can get information that is relevant to your business. We'd always encourage a business owner to have a particular set budget within their business and to break down the different parts of that budget, for example, PPE, training, software, etc., etc. And so you have a standardized budget for the business. Many employers in our experience at a small to medium level don't necessarily sit down at the start of every year and say, here is what our budget is for health and safety. And therefore, when an issue comes up that is a health and safety topic, it becomes something that is a reactive measure rather than a proactive measure for your business. Having a good solid budget, yes, you might exceed that budget because of certain issues, but you can always trend your budget on a year-to-year basis so that you eventually find a finite figure that suits your business in terms of health and safety. So please go back and have a look and say to yourself, okay, for the next 12 months, what will my budget be? What will it look like? And at the end of that 12 months, go back and look and see, did you hit your target? Did you exceed your target? Where did you exceed in those targets? And then go back to the suppliers within those categories and see, can you create some sort of a mini tender process so that you can create a sort of a competition to try and reduce the costs to get them to where you need to be.
Please get in touch with us if you have any ideas for future content or if you want us to help a challenge within your business. Take care, and we look forward to hearing from you very soon.